Hello and welcome back to That Mystery Show podcast. I'm Carla. I am your host today. Um, it is going to be just me today. So, welcome, Darla. Nice to see you. Thank you. And you inspired me to fire this back up. So, I appreciate you very much. So today, yes, okay. Today I want to touch on something that I believe is a very old and complex web of history, spirituality, and philosophy that often gets oversimplified by people trying to create strict labels or definitions, especially when it comes to witchcraft, New Age thought, and ancient mystery traditions. Well, hi, Lady Blind Wolf. Thank you. I appreciate that. So let's unpack a little bit of what I'm actually getting into. So, like, if for myself, I think I probably represent a group that could be associated with the New Age movement, and it is because, like, I if you've been following me, I call myself omnist because my spirituality allows me, by following omnism, to respect all beliefs as valid. There's truth in all of them, but not one is the truth. And that's the way my mind works. And so that works for me. Hi, Debbie. Hi, thank you. Yes, I'm so happy to see you guys here. Thank you. So, I'm noticing a lot of talk about it, and I think, New Age movement, I definitely want to chime in on this. I feel like on the outside, I look like that. Hi, I'm so glad to see all of you here. Thank you. I appreciate you very, very much. And Selena, and hello, Angela, right? Yes. Oh my gosh, thank you. So, I've created a little bit of a timeline that for me, I think kind of explains. Debbie, yeah, all right, all the cool cats are getting together. um, it kind of explains like what we first saw in like probably 3000 BC would be where we saw ancient mystery schools, Egypt, Sumer. And if moving on up, we didn't really see the first signs of anything other than that until maybe 1000 BC. So then we started to see more. Is it Zoroaster? Am I saying it right? Zoroastrianism. I know I'm looking at the word, but I think you know what I'm trying to say, right? Sonia, hi. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you. All right. So, and then we move on from that. We got the Essenes. We've got possibly when the Dead Sea Scrolls, or should I say what was in them was possibly being written. And then we move on up from that. Wow, we got everybody showing up here. Right on. Good to see you too, Phoenix Fire. So, moving on from that, we got Hermeticism. Then we got Gnosticism and early witchcraft. We've got probably the beginning. That's then we got Jesus, and he kind of like sets the beginning of time. Um, so we've got Jesus and the secret teachings there, and I'm being very, kind of. I'm not really going into detail of each thing, but I'm trying to create a timeline, you know. And so then we get after Jesus, we have the beginnings of Christianity. Then we start seeing well, let's like around the year 1000 is when we see witchcraft is more prevalent, and then from that we've got the witch trials and suppression of that. Then medieval grimoires, theosophy, spiritualism, Renaissance, and then the New Age movement. And then after that, we see Wicca and modern witchcraft, New Age revival. Now, Chat GPT did make me which I wanted to share it with you, but I couldn't. I don't have the new. I didn't upgrade my StreamYard, so it says ancient mystery schools, Egypt, Sumer, and the Indus Valley would have been first. After that would have came Hermeticism. After that would have been the Essenes and the Dead Sea Scrolls. After that, Gnosticism. Then after that, early witchcraft. Then the New Age movement comes last. Now that's what Chat GPT made for me. It's actually a very lovely uh, picture. So yes, Lady Blind Wolf, I do have a timeline here, and you are correct. It's like 2000 and something is when we start to see Wicca and modern witchcraft and the New Age revival. So the New Age movement, though, began before that. So the thing of it is like, if you just have that timeline in your mind, so, and let's talk about like what I'm hearing is, again, trying to put a label on what we believe, and who's to say what's right and what isn't. You know what I mean? It's like, and I'm hearing these things to say somebody is trying to correct the label that you put on yourself and asking you to do more research. So I think that even our research is going to be guided by our own perception of reality. And if you unpack what traditional witchcraft is versus New Age spirituality, taking a look at just the traditional witchcraft, that kind of refers to folk magic, animistic type practices that are rooted in pre-Christian rural Europe, especially in the British Isles. That tends to be realistic and lineage based, though not always. Focused on land spirits, ancestors, the old ways. And I think that it can be skeptical of modern or often more idealistic New Age ideas like universal love and ascension, which everybody knows if you follow me. That's pretty much where I'm at. But that doesn't believe that I don't, or that doesn't mean that I don't believe in traditional witchcraft. New Age spirituality, on the other hand, is eclectic and global. It is drawing from all the things that I previously mentioned. If you were to look at that timeline, it's drawing from theosophy, Hermeticism, Eastern mysticism, indigenous philosophies, and quantum theory. So it's very progressive. It embraces ideas like manifestation, crystal energy, reincarnation, chakras, alien consciousness, and unity consciousness. Now, and I can't say that I even believe in all of those things, but I definitely entertain those things. It is often associated with the Aquarian age. You know, we've heard that. We're like, ooh, we're headed into the age of Aquarius. The law of one, I'm definitely there for that. And higher dimensional thinking. So, New Age philosophy draws from ancient sources and is as much as traditional witchcraft, if not more in some cases. So I guess what really kind of ruffled my feathers a little bit is like when I hear somebody trying to school somebody in how they should label themselves, I think, okay, I know I'm a witch. Because if I think about what that is, a practitioner of magic, I believe in magic, and I know that I use magic. how I label myself is how I label myself. And in fact, the term witch was probably coined by the Christian church as a way to make us look bad, right? To make us look evil. And then I think myself, I'm also a conspiracy theorist, but I'm actually a critical thinker. But yet the CIA coined that term as a way to make people that are critical thinkers feel bad about themselves. So we embrace these terms because it validates the way that we feel. And it's a way to say, up yours, make seven up yours. And then somebody else who you think feels should, that we resonate with is telling us, no, you can't label yourself that either. I feel like the whole idea is that who cares? I respect your pronouns. I respect anything that somebody says, this is me, respect it. And I think that is the way it should be, period. Granted, I'm pretty opinionated. Well, when we get into language, Lady Blind Wolf, it's like we're talking about the word witch as used in translations from scripture and scrolls. It's like the word witch was made bad by these Christians. But where did the term come from? Were they always called witches? No, I don't think they were. I think they were called something else. And so now we're like, yeah, no, we know what witch means. And that's all that matters, because that's what it means when somebody tells you how you can label yourself. You know what I mean? When somebody else tells you how you can label yourself, that leads to a lot of other crap, in my opinion. It's like, I can't help but think of King Solomon when he is, presented with this gift, and he is allowed to use these fallen angels or demons to help him build his temple. But in order to gain control of them, he says, "What's your name?" And so not all the angels gave Solomon their name, and hence he could not control them. So to me, what does that say? To me, that says when you don't allow someone else to label you, they have no control over you. I think that all these old stories are allegorical, you know? And yeah, the thing of it is who cares? If somebody cares about the label that you put on yourself, it says more about them than it does you. And the New Age movement, it's like I hear Christianity, and I'm being vague because I don't think all Christians feel this way, but I did see a couple videos where the minister or whoever that is, talking about this New Age movement says, be warned, because this is not Christianity. This is something darker. And then, to hear it from someone in the community that thinks that the New Age movement is not, I mean, yes, it's different, but it's because it encompasses everything. And to, re-educate ourselves, because you can't wear the label of this type of witch and practice the New Age movement as being the same thing. Well, I do beg to differ, because I think that that's like saying, because I believe in Gnosticism, then the Gnostics saying, oh, no, 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 you cannot use our label because you don't believe in just Gnosticism. Or, maybe Enki said, no, 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 you can't believe in the Sumerian tablets because you don't believe in just the Sumerian tablets. I don't know. I feel like, again, it just comes down to labels. And why? Why are we creating them for each other? It's only important to label ourselves as we feel validated. It doesn't matter what anyone else says. But the New Age movement, I think, is progressive. And you're right. It feels like it is, there's growth in that. And to say that I believe in something that may be different doesn't mean that I can't say that I'm not still a traditional witch. You know what I mean? Because I believe in those things too. Ancient roots. Let's, talking about the mystery schools and the Essenes. The Dead Sea Scrolls, the mystery schools, like these traditions predate Christianity and heavily influenced the early Christian mysticism and later magical traditions. Some notable spiritual systems that the New Age idea draws from is Hermeticism, which is based on Hermes Trismegistus, which is older than Christianity. Gnosticism, a mystical offshoot of early Christianity that believed in secret knowledge. That's like gnosis. And I do believe in, each of our personal gnosis as being our truth. And there's nothing that can trump that. Pythagorean and Platonic thought, that ties into sacred geometry and numerology, etc. Here's that word that I had fun saying before, Zoroastrianism, and Avesta, that influenced the duality of light and dark in Christianity, and the Egyptian mysteries and Dionysian, or I'm thinking of Dionysus, Bacchus, the early mystery schools. So these systems emphasized inner alchemy, spiritual ascent, and unity with the divine. And these are all core New Age concepts. So magic and witchcraft, let's talk about that. Which came first? So witchcraft is a derivative of broader magical systems. And magic as a concept is using spiritual laws to affect reality. It's ancient and found in every culture. Witchcraft is simply one cultural expression of it. Magic is universal. Witchcraft is that cultural lens which magic is practiced, often with specific tools, symbols, and rituals. And again, we know that there's so much more, but it's kind of a summary. Many traditional witches have a strong regional and ancestral tie to their craft. So they might view the New Age movement maybe as disconnected from place and blood. And I can understand that, but that doesn't mean that it's new or less valid in my opinion. Now I'm going to give a little disclaimer, because if we talk about, Jesus, some people have religious trauma. And that was another thing that I saw. It's like, actually, Tony shared a video with me. Kelly Maddox had just done a video talking about why some of these former witches are turning Christian. And then she was showing some of that, and she's in some of these videos, these women are talking about what it was like for them when they were in the witchcraft, when they were practicing the craft, and or if they used crystals or tarot or anything, and they were like, I was sick, and saying all these bad things, like they thought it was just a path of destruction. And then as soon as they switched to Christianity, they felt so much better. And Kelly was like, yay, wonderful for you. And I was like, that's right. Yeah, wonderful for you. But there's something called accountability. So it doesn't really, was it really the spiritual practice or was it you? Because then she said, I believe in witchcraft and all these things, and I I'm happy and I feel great, you know? So I mean, it's a lack of accountability in my opinion. And it's also the same, I think, when we blame something else that we don't believe in anymore for why our life was bad. And it's falling into them labels again, isn't it? So it's like I think we trap ourselves. Yes, yes, Selena. It's you. It is. It's you. Okay, I've missed some chat. Let me see here. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so where are we at? I'm a witch, just as simple as that. I'll label myself what I want, just as you can as well. I dislike the you can't be a Christian witch or any other kind. Yes, exactly. Same, same. Do you know that the CIA studies paranormal activity? Yes, they do. Just like the government denies aliens, but yet dealing, working with, and planning with different. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I just tell people I'm a pagan that practices witchcraft because not all pagans practice witchcraft. Yes, thank you. Yes, absolutely. I tend to dip into new age here and there. Yes, see? And I don't really know if what I'm dipping into is that, but I feel like other people think I'm that. So it's still an assumption, and I believe in everything, that pretty much anything and everything, because I respect it all and I can see the truth in all of it. I just don't accept one as the whole truth, but I believe in all of it. Um yes, me too, Selena. You do you, less stressful that way. Absolutely. Absolutely. Um I want to practice and behave in a way that is different than what the world is doing now. Yeah. Oh my gosh. And that's a spiritual way to look at it. It's like be in the world, but don't be of it. Um, I don't mind being labeled in that it is easier to communicate my beliefs, but one label isn't only me. Oh my gosh. Yes. That's a big one. It's like we are only one aspect. And when you see somebody, you definitely do not know them. You just see what they want you to see. Um, oh, had a pastor do a video with the former Wiccan, and he was talking about how Wicca let him. Yeah, see, ugh, that's just so frustrating. It's like, why do you want to disgrace it? Agenda. So it's like my sister and I were talking yesterday. She's like, if you're putting out a video that is like, um, I don't know, mad that about not really mad, but trying to enforce how you feel about labels, and that you can't label yourself this way or that way. It's almost like you do have an agenda. What is it for? You know, because why do we care? I understand that we have them for ourselves, but why not respect each other's labels and just leave it at that? Okay. All right. Live and let live as long as you aren't hurting anyone. Do what makes you happy. Yes, exactly. Exactly. I love that. Um, I wish more people thought that way, Sonia. Yes, me too. Me too. You got to remember, though, a lot of witches practice eclectic witchcraft. And I don't understand why I need to remember that, because I feel I'm eclectic also. I feel I can't put a label on it for myself. You know what I mean? I just can't. Um, I'm getting through my trauma from that. Yeah, the religious trauma. Yeah, yeah, and I mean, we have boundaries for a reason, and it's almost like for myself, I came into that late. Um, yeah, I came into that late, learning and understanding that the boundaries are necessary to protect myself. You know what I mean? From what I may not be ready for. The more we are in touch with our higher self and become more of that, in touch with that spiritual side, there's a lot more things we can handle. But if we can't, that's why we have those boundaries, I think, is to protect us from the things that we know we're not ready for. You know, um, you'd have to ask yourself, where were they Christian before they went to witchcraft? And that was, yeah, if we're back to talking about Kelly Maddox, yeah, that's what her whole video was about. And then, you have Christians that come to witchcraft because, again, they're like, or, the New Age movement, because they understand. I hate to talk bad about like one religious group, but there's a lot of toxicity in a lot of Christianity. And I hate to say that, but it is because there's a lack of accountability, in my opinion. It's when and it is probably more, I think there's different types of Christianity. So it's maybe the ones that are causing all this trauma are the ones that are saying, just give it all to that person that sacrificed for you. And to me, it takes the accountability out of it. And when I was practicing Christianity, I will tell you what really was the game changer for me was people started wearing those bracelets that said, "What would Jesus do?" And I started thinking, yeah, what would Jesus do? Well, Jesus wouldn't shun somebody for being different, or, Jesus wouldn't do that. So, yeah, that's actually what led me away from Christianity, was understanding that the things that Jesus was saying was not what the church was telling me, pretty much. Um, yeah, yep. People in spiritual psychosis or did not complete the deconstruction process. Right. Sometimes we are the tower. Yes, yes. The issue I have to deal with is being treated like I'm obsolete in my practice because I research historical culture within my origin of my ancestral lands and incorporate those into my practice. Oh, I don't know, but when I come to your channel and you are a research queen, I listen and I learn. Um, I think we need to dip into spiritual psychosis. Yeah, I've also heard the term spiritual narcissism, and I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm just not feeling a lot of the modern concepts, but I don't care if others do, and that's understandable. And that's kind of what brought me to this, was because when you call it a new age movement, I feel like it's older. You know what I mean? I feel like it's more ancient. And so it's just like I don't understand where the new age movement comes from, except for the fact that it encompasses everything and allows you to, you know, touch on it all. And because of what one person feels is right for them, is it's as simple as that. That's what's right for you. And again, like I said, for like myself, who does believe in all the ancient stuff, and then also Christian mysticism and traditional witchcraft, I feel like I'm an eclectic witch because I don't really um conform to one or the other. But it's not because I'm lazy. It's because I feel like there's so much power in my divine self that is connected to the source, that I feel like that power runs through me. You know what I mean? So I'm not as ritualistic, I guess. That doesn't mean that I'm not willing to try it, because I'll try it. And everything to me is about intentions. And so I just don't really think about what someone else is doing and wonder um, if it's bad for them. I don't concern myself with that. I don't concern myself with what someone else labels themselves because it doesn't affect me. It's only when somebody is talking about how I've labeled myself that I feel like, okay, well, now I'm affected, you know, because I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with what I'm labeling myself. And I don't think any of you ladies do either. Um, Witchcraft saved me. I was on drugs before. Sorry. Okay. I get it. You were being funny. Yeah. Yeah. I'm telling you, witchcraft is very spiritual. Um, I wish I knew my ancestral lineage in that way to incorporate it in my witchery. Yeah. And see, I, if you've had your DNA done, I mean, that's another thing. It's like, I have ancestors that are all over the world. Doesn't that say something? What does that say? So my bloodline has, granted I'm probably 40% German, but there's Irish in there. There's a little bit of Italian. I mean, English. I mean, there's even a little bit of indigenous. I think 3% without looking at my chart. I mean, so I would have to look at all of that. But people don't look at you and go, oh, okay. You need to prove. Let me see your ancestry there. Prove it. No, just do what feels right for you. Seriously though, I found out a lot more of myself because of my path. Yes, I definitely feel the same. Um, Oh, I think what Jasmine was saying was that there's a difference between New Age and the witchcraft revival movement, and that those are two different things, but sometimes they do overlap. Yes, I actually did watch her video, and it was very well done. It was very well done. My issue with it was that she tried to say that, you can't call yourself a traditional witch if you are if you're doing all these other things because they don't coincide. And that's the part I don't agree with. And the video was very well done and she had a lot of information. But I think that new age spirituality is more connected to ancient mysticism than most people give it credit for. And witchcraft, while old, is just one expression of those ancient magical traditions. The modern traditional witch movement sometimes wants to define or possibly gatekeep, and that myself, and I'm talking in a broad sense, I think that the roots go much deeper and broader. So the New Age movement can't be defined because it encompasses each one of those things. So when you try to say that the difference is that the witchcraft is one path. Hermeticism is one path. Gnosticism is one path. The New Age movement encompasses all of them, so you can be all of them. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like that's the difference. That's the only difference, is that they're all different, but it's saying that the New Age movement is not recognizing that you can be all of them, because that's exactly what it is saying. You can be all of them because it covers it all. So it doesn't, because you can still honor your ancestors and work with crystals, or you can still believe, you know what I mean? Because you've already studied that, but you've also studied Hermeticism. So it's saying you need to pick. And no, you don't need to pick. That's just my opinion. Nobody's going to tell me that I need to pick one or the other because I am all of it. And that to me is the only difference. No matter what you do in your practice, you should do research so you know whether it's new age or traditional. Yeah, see, that's telling somebody what they should do is kind of what I'm getting at. You have to do what's best for you. Research what's best for you because how you label yourself is nobody else's business. So that's like saying, because I look like I am new age, that I don't know anything about the others. You know what I'm saying? That's a big assumption. And the new age movement recognizes all of the things that came before. So yeah, that's kind of what brought me here. Uh, I had always been told that I had a lot of Native American, but I had none, so I can't rely on what I have been told family wise. Oh, well, I will tell you, I don't know if Ancestry or uh, what is it, 23andMe, which I think is not even, I think they went out of business. I don't know how accurate they are. I think that because I put my results into another one and got similar results, but not exactly the same. You know, I mean, I know a lot of witches that practice both traditional and new age. Yeah, yes, absolutely. It's just when we try to label it, that's where I think it's like, why? Why do we need to label it? Because progression and growth is thinking outside the box. When we put a label on it, then it puts you back inside that box. Do what's best for you. I mean, is understand the history and where it's coming from, which I agree with that. But that's why I said the new age movement recognizes everything that came before it because it's rooted in those ancient things that came before witchcraft. You know what I'm saying? I hope I'm making sense. I still need to have my DNA done. Supposedly, I'm quite a bit Indigenous American. Yeah, and with all of your like you're a healer, Debbie. I can just see it. You work with herbs. Um, the database with 23andMe wasn't big enough, so your results wouldn't have been all that accurate. That's correct. Yeah, the more that people put in is the more you'll see, the more percentages will show up. Yeah. Yeah. I think they are in a lot of ways, as my son did it too, and you could get minimal Native American in almost exactly same area as me. The differences I think might be his dad. Yeah, yeah, and that makes a lot of sense too. My daughter and I were comparing ours on Ancestry, and her percentages are a little bit different, but you would think that hers would be a little bit less, but because of her father's, her some of her percentages were higher. So yeah, it makes you just don't know. You know what I mean? You could get a guesstimation. Um, Yeah, that's what I use as ancestry, but it depends on how many generations back you're. Yeah. Yeah, and I did find that they're not as forthcoming with the indigenous DNA. And I think that's because of like you have to have a high amount to see it, higher, because if it's almost got to be like undeniable because Feels like the government is um, doesn't want that. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, without coming right out and saying something. The New Age concepts are from other cultures and brought here, and then were labeled New Age. But I also believe that we in this country don't fully incorporate all of what is entailed in them. Exactly. And but I mean, does it matter? That's like, does it matter? It matters to us, to each individual. But it doesn't matter if what your deep dive is, if it's different than mine. You know what I mean? It's like I deep dive into the things that totally interest me, and hence why I call myself omnist. But hearing someone else call themselves something else, and like if another omnist come to me and said I'm omnist, I wouldn't go, oh really? Why do you think you're omnist? Did you study the same things I did? No, no, because I feel like that is a big term and it does encompass a lot. So I I kind of wonder sometimes if, like what my sister was and I were talking about yesterday, if like sometimes these aren't just a way to like bait us, you know? And which I'm grateful because I love to talk about it. So I just don't appreciate division. I don't appreciate division. Um, because of my own personal beliefs. I'm one of those hippies that, like, let's make love, not war. you know, I feel like there's enough division, and there's so many things that we have common ground on that we can embrace that instead of fine tuning it. And yeah, hippie power. Yeah. So Chat GPT did give me some books, and I've already read a lot of these. But Chat GPT, her name is Sophia, so she's one of my friends. She suggested the Secret Teachings of All Ages, in which I have read that. And this podcast, that mystery show podcast, is the kind of the series that I was digging into right before I took a big old break from it, was just that. I've already read it, but I love to go through it and discuss it. So um, that's something I'm going to be getting back into here shortly. I left off at Poor Mandris, and there's a little bit more coming. Um, yes, I am definitely. Ooh, and you got the book? Yes. Oh, yes, I'm definitely getting back into that, Debbie. The Gnostic Gospels. So a lot of this New Age movement is definitely based upon the Gnostic Gospels. Um, Theosophy. I know, Darla, you're very much into Blavatsky. Um, New Age movement is around that, and it's very psychological also. So Carl Jung was mentioned, the Law of One, the raw material. Then there's something that I haven't read. It's called The Initiation by Elizabeth Hike. So I'm going to read that one. It's a semi-autobiographical story of a woman initiated into the Egyptian mysteries. I love Thoth. Um, I'm actually creating an altar right now. I'm getting all my goodies to do it. That is going to be dedicated to Thoth and Sachet. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but she is the Egyptian goddess of wisdom and writing. So she's like Thoth's counterpart. So I deliberately am uh, combining the male and the female um, uh, divine energy, you know, and then it's my first altar. I'm excited. Um, So let's see. Division comes between paganism and witchcraft also, of which I am both. They can overlap, but are two separate things. And see, that's an understandable statement. It does overlap and they are separate. But the new age movement, to say that it's separate, that's where I differ on, because I think it says you can be all of it. You know what I mean? I feel like that is encompassing all of it, but you're not wrong. Traditional witchcraft is different than Hermeticism, without a doubt. It's different than Gnosticism. It's different than Sumer mythology. It's different than Egyptian mythology. It's different than the secret mystery schools, but all of it comes from that. It all started from there. You know, that's the whole thing. So it's like coming full circle. I don't see a separation except for in your own mind. And allowing yourself to believe in anything is really, that's why I see a difference in the fact that one encompasses it all and the other encompasses just an aspect of it. Kind of like us. Like you were saying, Angela, it's one aspect of us. So I have a friend that used to practice Kemetic witchcraft. I'm going to have a talk with her. Ooh, that'll be interesting. She's currently an atheist, but I can send you her videos. Yeah, absolutely. I'm really curious about the raw material Law of One, but I haven't read it yet. Yeah, it's I think there's a link to the it's free online, and it goes through it all. It goes through it all, and it's you can like navigate it really easy because there's actual links on it. If I can find that, Darla, I'll put it in the description here after we're done here. So it'll be in the description. It is really, really, really good. And so like it touches on all these different topics. And then you can actually just click on the link once you go to the website and not have to read it all. You know what I mean? You can pretty much skip around. Even talks about tarot. It's really interesting. Yeah, so I think that's really all I wanted to say, and I really appreciate all of your input. And there's no right or wrong opinions. It's just I have my own, is all. And it's really coming from a place of I feel like I fit into that new age group, but man, I'm a student of ancient scrolls. You know what I mean? Like um I have pretty much read all the books of the Bible, including the ones that were not um, in the King James edition. You would call it the Ethiopian Bible. So I've had my nose in all of those. Obviously, the Dead Sea Scrolls, which that's a part of that. The books of the giants. Um, so I pretty much understood what the Essenes were trying to say, and that is not a Christian ideology. That's more of a Gnostic ideology, and I really dug into Gnosticism. I've read most of the Nag Hammadi library, and very much love Eastern mysticism. Like Buddhism, and I just got done reading the Bhagavad Gita. So a lot of my beliefs are from that. And so I can see how witchcraft has evolved, So for somebody to say, you can't label yourself that. Well, really, I understand magic. I'm using magic. We all are. And so to say that this is new when I know it's not, it's like, and then for someone to say, that there's a difference. No, the difference is that one is one path and one encompasses it all. That's There's a difference, but understand the difference, you know. I am not going to narrow my way, my pathway into just one path. I don't have any um let's just say it does not bother me to know if somebody else does. If you want to follow just one path, that's what makes you happy. But obviously, since I identify as being part of this new age movement, I know that it's not new. It's hard for somebody to say, but you can't label yourself this because you're different. No, I'm not gonna. It just doesn't sit well with me. But yeah. Okay. I am almost at the hour, and I know we still got about 10 minutes. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and I never heard of the law one. Yeah, yeah. Oh, it's good. It's good. And thank you so much for being here and chiming in, because all of your opinions count. And I think it's amazing that we're all different. We're all different. You know what I mean? We're all different. We all have different beliefs, but we have common ground too. We're all practitioners of magic in one way or another. That's I love it. I love it. All right. We'll be looking for the next one. I don't know if I'll actually have a notification, a little teaser. I might just whoop, I'm ready to go. So you might catch it on the playback. But anyway, thank you again. And I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of their day, whether it's late afternoon or evening. I got sunshine right now. Ah, yes, yes. Surprise! All right. I love you guys. And I'll be talking to you soon. Bye.